You want some numbers here, Nick. You've probably come across these. During this 11-game streak for USC, they're obviously 11-0. They're 8-3 against the spread, being a 15.5-point favorite in this one. They have averaged over 43 points a game during this 11-game run. They're at the Coliseum. They've won 8 straight, and they're 6-2 against the spread at the Coliseum in those games. And that Stanford performance was just tremendous. 623 yards against a Stanford defense. That shows how much talent's on that USC offense when they put it all together.
Yeah, it's really was something else. I think that was Clay Helton's ideal or sort of dream game. Like, this is what I've been preaching since I got here. This is what was supposed to look like. We do that, we'll beat anyone. And obviously, if you can get 300 yards rushing and 300 yards passing, you should be able to compete with and probably beat anyone. But it's probably not going to be that great all the time. Having said that, Clay Helton is fine with, if the passing game doesn't have the best day, the running game can pick it up. What the team that's going to beat USC, if they keep playing like that, is going to be the team that can contain the run with 5 or fewer guys in the box and can still drop guys in coverage. So, a team that can get havoc with 3 or 4 guys up front and get penetration and swallow up the line and drop plenty of guys into coverage to clog up the lanes for Sam Darnold is the team that's going to have the shot to really take down USC, assuming they continue to perform the way they did against Stanford or reasonably similar. Because right now you can't sell out on either one to stop it, because the other one is more than fine taking over. Western Michigan did a pretty good job stopping the passing game. The running game just ran right over them. And then Stanford came out and kind of didn't do either, but it's not one of those things. Like, they're fine if you force them to go one-dimensional, but not if you can force them to be one-dimensional with a small amount of players, as opposed to most of your defense. I don't want to get too much into the spread. I think that's a lot of points, and I really think Texas is going to try to slow the game down, take the crowd out of it. They also need to get some breaks, and a lot has been made about Sam Darnold's turnovers, and his turnover count's always been a little higher than you'd want it. But it also hasn't really cost them anything. He's a guy that has sort of this gunslinger mentality. He has a lot of faith in his abilities and his teammates' abilities, and he's going to take some risky throws. And with his talents, they're not necessarily poor decisions, but maybe they were riskier than he thought. But so he'll get a couple interceptions. He's had two interceptions in each of his 2 games, but it hasn't really hurt them. He had more interceptions than you'd like last year as well, but he can have 2 interceptions, but if he's still completing 81% of his passes and they're still beating Stanford by 18, if Texas wants to stay in this, have a shot at winning, if or perhaps when Sam Darnold throws an interception, they're actually going to do something with it. Take it straight to the house for a pick 6, set up a long bomb, change momentum, take the steam out of the crowd, do something. But this weird thing about how everyone hates turnovers and turnovers kill, Sam Darnold just sort of kind of defies that. It's a little bit weird. But so Texas has to do something with those. Texas has to get their special teams. They need to whip that special teams unit in shape. It's their kicker has, I believe is 0 for 3 on field goal attempts. USC has not attempted a field goal, but their kicker was not good in camp on field goal attempts. So we could be in line for a lot of crazy 4th down calls because there's just going to be, it's not going to be the best day for special teams. Let's just put it that way for anybody. But the possibility is there, and it's Tom Herman in a game he's supposed to lose, so you can't dismiss him, and USC isn't, but on paper, yes, USC is probably a couple of scores better than Texas in the Coliseum. But thank God football is not played on paper. It's played by human beings in a field with a weirdly shaped ball, and things happen. And so I think it sounds like USC is preparing for a Texas team that I don't think a lot of people believe exists right now. And so I think that might be the best thing for USC to ensure their chances of victory, is to not let that dominating win go to their head against Stanford. Like, okay, we screwed around against Western Michigan, but we jammed it down Stanford's throat. We're good now. Because that can go to your head pretty quickly. And I think Clay Helton's reminding them that, like, hey, Western Michigan was 2 weeks ago, and that 75-yard Bryce Love run should remind you that no matter how dominant you are, you're still very beatable. So let's get it together. This Tom Herman team's coming in to play it tough. And I think USC is going to be ready to go. I don't think there's going to be a letdown, but I also would not be surprised if Texas came out and played a way better game than they've shown themselves capable of playing so far.
Tom Herman picked up his first career win as Texas coach last week. He's trying to pick up a monumental one this week at the Coliseum against a top 5 USC team that's 2-0 and looked mighty impressive against Stanford in notching its first Pac-12 win. Along the way, Nick Dempsey from Conquest Chronicles helped us break down USC and Texas. All right, Nick, appreciate the time.
Of course, Mark, anytime.